How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. One Bitcoin will be a status symbol in the future. It will be something that a lot of people dream about, a lot of people brag about. But right now, some people just don't understand it. They don't see that happening in the future, but I want to show you it here today. I want to explain why it's going to be such a big deal in a way that you probably haven't heard before. If you don't mind, hit subscribe. Turn on the bell notification underneath the video so you can see future videos just like this. There's also going to be a link underneath the video to Margex where you can trade cryptocurrency using leverage if you want, of course. There's a link to this. You get deposit bonus. There's no KYC, so you don't have to tell everyone who you are, right? And if you have a lot of Bitcoin, you don't have to explain your social security number or give your social security number, put down your name and all that. No, you can start trading. Of course, there's always risk when you put crypto on a centralized exchange, but that's a risk you have to take if you're going to trade crypto. There's also a link to CoinW underneath the video as well in case you want to try that exchange out. It actually just hit number 5 on the top derivatives exchanges. So definitely check that out. You get access to a free private group as well. Now, I was recently in Dubai, the land of money. We were on Millionaires Row, where just a few years ago, the houses were selling for a couple $1 million. Now they're selling for at minimum $15 million. 2 houses down, we had a car. There were 4 different cars there. One was a Rolls Royce, then 3 Ferraris. You might be saying, wow, those people have a lot of money. Well, the cars weren't the most expensive thing in their driveway. The license plates actually were. Take a look at this. A lot of people don't understand wealth, like the wealth level in Dubai, and we'll bring it back to Bitcoin in a second. But people in Dubai have so much money, they spend millions of dollars on license plates. $15 million Dubai license plate sale just set a new world record. So 55 million dirhams, which is $15 million. Someone spent $15 million to have license plate number 7. Why would someone do this? It's not like there's any difference between license plate number 7 and 3,422 in terms of your ability to drive. The problem is when you live in such a wealthy area, right? You see supercars all over the place. Like literally, they had 3 Ferraris and a Rolls Royce. What's the point of having the 3rd Ferrari, right? At some point, money just doesn't matter, and a status symbol, a car is no longer a status symbol, right? If everyone has a Ferrari, you're not rich if you have a Ferrari. So how do you set yourself apart? You buy something that there's a limited quantity of, right? Low number license plates. We were actually the house 2 doors down. They had the 3 Ferraris, had license plate number 9 and 55 as well, right? So they spent millions and millions of dollars. The license plate is like an investment there. They had $30 million worth of license plates in their driveway, or 20 million, something like that. The car is worth maybe 5 million between all the different cars, but the license plates are worth, 6 times that, 5 times that. And it's not just license plates. Like there are people buying all different kinds of things. Like an anonymous millionaire paid almost $1 million for a special phone number. This is from 3 weeks ago. It was just 777-777-77, right? All 7s. People spend money on things that are rare. A lot of people don't understand how rare Bitcoin is yet. So right now, there are about 1 million addresses that hold 1 Bitcoin. So 1 million people in the world, or a million addresses that hold 1 Bitcoin. A lot of people have over 1 Bitcoin on multiple addresses. Like if you own 100 Bitcoin, some people would put those 100 Bitcoin on 10 different wallet addresses. I estimate there's somewhere between 250,000 and 500,000 whole coiners in the world. Keep in mind, that's a very small number. Compare that to something else that you can buy that's around the same price, like a Tesla. A Tesla Model 3 or Model Y, maybe those run you anywhere from 40 to 70,000, depending on which car you're buying. In the past, they were even more expensive, but just this last quarter, they sold 369,000. They made 412,000, around the same price as a Bitcoin. And you can look at more expensive things like this. How many Lamborghinis were sold? 10,000 globally in 2023. Of course, maybe there are 10 years worth of Lamborghinis out there, so maybe there's about 100,000 Lamborghinis out on the roads. Probably more than that, but let's say it's 100,000. Ferrari had 13,000, so maybe 130,000 Ferraris out on the road. Probably more than that again. G-Wagons, which cost, I don't know, $200,000, $300,000. Some are cheaper if you get them 10 years old or something, but they're still about the same price. I'm going by like supercars now. Like if you want a status symbol of a G-Wagon, well, they sold 41,000 of them last year. There are probably 500,000 to maybe 1 million G-Wagons out there. And the thing is, like, if you're buying a G-Wagon, you're buying one. It's not like Bitcoin where there are some people that have 30 or 100 or 1,000, right? They swallow up a lot of the supply. No, it's much easier to get a G-Wagon, especially because people buy and sell them all the time. They get old and they want a new car, right? People buy and sell G-Wagons all the time. Bitcoin isn't the same way. And we can keep on going through it. Z06 Corvettes, they start around 100, 110,000. There were 54,000 made last year. Bentley, right? There are 13,000 Bentleys sold last year. McLaren, there are 3,400 McLarens. Ford Raptors, which can go into the couple $100,000 range. Right? Hopefully I'm not boring too many people, but 25,000 or 30,000 Ford Raptors. You can see some of them here, $215,000, $135,000, and it's just a Ford. It's just a Ford at the end of the day, a souped up Ford. So some analysts say there are between maybe around 77,000 new vehicles sold for $100,000 or more last year. This is low, maybe just in the US, but you can see that there are infinite numbers of expensive cars. And this is just kind of bringing it back to the Dubai license plate and phone number. Like, there's a level of wealth that you get to where you just want to show off a little bit, right? You don't really have to worry about daily expenses. It means nothing to pay a couple $100 for food, right? Maybe you passively make $500,000 a year or $5 million a year, stuff like that. Like, there's just, your threshold moves up. Maybe you're at this point with maybe you're at that point right now. Or maybe there's some people out there that are just like, I don't care if I pay for a coffee. It means nothing to me. You know, I make a couple $100,000 a year. I'll buy a $3, $5, $7 coffee. I don't care. They're all different levels. The problem is there's only so many things in the world that are finite, right? Okay, license plates, sure, but you can't really take those other places. Other people don't get it, right? So in Dubai, you might be a big shooter if someone sees 7. But when you leave the country, it doesn't really matter if you have to leave at some point. But keep in mind, there's only so many Bitcoin. This is an international status symbol that's scarce. No one can screw you over on it, too. After you take custody of it, nothing can happen to you. I mean, of course, maybe someone tries to seize it from you or a country tries to seize it, but you actually have to give them access to your wallet or your keys at some point to do that. But you can see here, like, okay, there are 19 million Bitcoin. Again, only 250,000, maybe 500,000 people actually hold a full Bitcoin. So compare it to cars. There are a lot less Bitcoin. There are a lot less Bitcoiners than people that own supercars. There are a lot less Bitcoin that you can buy. Right? There are people buying them all the time. Think about just the next year of issuance, right? Now we mine about 164,000 Bitcoin each year. This is less than the new supply of expensive cars each year. And a lot of these are getting swallowed up by the really rich people. I mean, imagine if someone out there, a Michael Saylor, was buying up thousands of G-Wagons every single quarter, or tens of thousands of G-Wagons every single quarter. Like, the scarcity would take effect, but the fact is you can just move on to a different car, right? You can move on to buying a Jeep Wagoneer, right? Or a Rivian truck or something like that. You can move on and buy an alternative, but there is no alternative to Bitcoin. Anyone that says, oh, well, you could buy Bitcoin Cash or you can buy Ethereum, they're not the same properties. It's a totally different type of investment vehicle. It's not the same thing. It's not interchangeable like a large car. So scarcity will take effect, right? There's going to be a time where people show off their one Bitcoin. Maybe they have like a scan code where you can go see their wallet address, right? There are going to be people that don't want to talk about it because, yeah, they have it, but it's private. And there are a lot of people like that already, right? A lot of people don't like to talk about how much Bitcoin they have. But I guarantee you this is going to be a status symbol one day because it's one of the only things that's truly scarce that they can't make more of. I mean, if all of a sudden someone is willing to pay, or a lot of people are willing to pay, I don't know, $1 million for a G-Wagon, I guarantee you they're going to make more. Like if for some reason that happens and everyone decides that G-Wagon's the most fabulous vehicle out there, the best vehicle out there, and they're starting to bid up the prices, used G-Wagons are going for $300,000, $400,000, right? Kind of like what happened in COVID. They're going to increase how many G-Wagons they make, right? And when they do that, well, they kind of flood the market with more G-Wagons, the price goes down. The fact is that doesn't happen with Bitcoin. There's no changing it. There's only going to be the amount of Bitcoin that there's going to be, and there's nothing that anyone can do to change it. So I realize that this is different, right? We're talking about a utility, something like a car that actually provides value that's very easy to understand. Drive point A to point B. Bitcoin's obviously different. You're investing in it. But we're talking about the same kinds of people, right? Maybe someone that buys a Bitcoin in 5 years isn't someone that really cares about the investment properties of it. They just want to say they have a full Bitcoin. Maybe they're worth $50 million. And at that point, Bitcoin's 250,000. They're like, wow, I should buy it just to have one, just to be able to say I'm a whole coiner, because at that point, maybe there's only another 100 or 200,000 people that can ever become whole coiners, right? They say, I'm going to be part of history, right? And sometimes these people intersect. There's actually just news about someone that bought the Buy Bitcoin sign that was held up behind, I think it was Janet Yellen. They paid 16 Bitcoin for it. There's someone that paid 30 Bitcoin to have a specific sat. So there are people willing to spend a lot of money to be part of Bitcoin history, something that's truly scarce, that's got some meaningfulness, some meminess, not a word, but you understand what I'm saying, some meminess in crypto, or some historical significance within the crypto industry. So sometimes there are intersections like that, but just being part of Bitcoin, just having a Bitcoin will be a big deal. It's kind of like that little comic where there's a Bitcoiner that it's a little plushie or whatever, and they go to someone and say, I'm a Bitcoiner, and they say, I'm a millionaire. And then the millionaire has like this beautiful house, and then the Bitcoiner's got like a shack or something. And then the next time, I'm a Bitcoiner, well, I'm a millionaire, and they've got like a normal house, not like a really awesome house, but a normal house. The millionaire has a normal house, then the Bitcoiner has a normal house. And then the next one is like a bunch of kids or something saying, oh, he's a Bitcoiner. And the next kid says, whoa. And it's someone with a castle, right? It's kind of that scenario. And we've seen it in other ways too. Like just the value of Bitcoin going up versus houses is almost unimaginable. Like if you had gone back 10 years ago and said, Bitcoin is worth 1/600th of a house, or one house is worth 600 Bitcoin. But in 40 years, it'll be worth 40 Bitcoin. Then 4 years after that, one house is going to be worth 6 Bitcoin. Think about it moving forward. What if next cycle, all of a sudden, or even this cycle, 0.6 Bitcoin or 1 Bitcoin is worth the same as a house, right? That is kind of nuts to start thinking about, but it's going to be the case, right? Bitcoin is true scarcity. It's a status symbol. It's the only thing that people can't have no matter how much they want to pay. It's not exactly true because there's always some Bitcoin being sold, but enough people want to buy, and it forces up the price, which causes less and less people to actually be able to buy it. Let's say Bitcoin's at 300,000 and all of a sudden 100,000 people want to start buying it. Well, you better believe that the price is going to skyrocket up to 400,000. Then people think, maybe I shouldn't buy a Bitcoin. It's too expensive for me. So then 30,000 people all of a sudden can't buy it anymore. but they always want to buy a Bitcoin, but they never can, right? It's always just outside of their reach. That's what I think is bound to happen. Now, let me know your thoughts on that underneath the video. Again, you can check out the link to Margex in case you want to start trading underneath the video. There's a link. There's also a link to CoinW. I also wanted to bring this up. This is a cryptocurrency that I'm investing in. I realize that this is not Bitcoin. This is not really on that same track of Bitcoin and how it's separate from all other cryptocurrencies. But I do invest into some altcoins. This is one that I'm going to be investing into, Xswap. They announced about a month ago that they're going to launch on Ape Terminal, which is pretty big. Ape Terminal has a lot of really good launches, and they're going to announce very soon their IDO, their TGE, all that kind of stuff. But they now have their LBP sale on Jord. It's live. So I'm going to leave a link to this underneath the video. They're not a sponsor of the channel or anything like that, but they are a crypto that I'm investing in. They're the first AMM and Launchpad on XDC. So if you want to learn a little bit more, I'll leave links to them underneath the video where you can go follow them on Twitter. Of course, always make sure you do your own due diligence. I'm never telling you to buy any single cryptocurrency. But if you want to check out some more information, you can check it out underneath. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Again, there are links to some of those different exchanges, and I'll see you in the next one.